Frank Walker is talking to an unseen audience about the future when a female voice interrupts him. Tell him that his wording is a touch bleak. Young Frank eagerly enters the Hall of Inventions carrying a very large duffel bag containing his invention, a jetpack he made. Though the judge David Nix does not show much enthusiasm for the device, a little girl named Athena seems to think Frank's invention has potential. Outside the hall, Athena catches up with Frank. Giving him a small pin, she requests that he follow her behind a small group. Frank follows the group where Frank boards one of the boat by himself. The boat Frank is on then pulls up at a small transport station. After a disorienting ride, Frank finds himself on a foggy platform but sees a strange flying vehicle taking off nearby, with Athena waving to him. Construction robots arise, knocking Frank down to a lower level. As his jetpack clatters to the platform, a robot nearby suddenly grabs it and fixes it. Frank inadvertently falls from this platform as well, but upon igniting his jetpack, he finds himself soaring amid a gleaming white cityscape unlike anything he's ever seen. He sees Athena and the others and touches down right in front of Mr. Nix. We are then introduced to Casey Newton, who happily proclaims she's an optimist. Casey surreptitiously enters a Cape Canaveral, Florida NASA launch pad that is being demolished. She sabotages 3 construction cranes. When she returns home, her dad tells her the end of the space shuttle's former launch site is inevitable. Casey still feels she's contributing something with trying to slow down the deconstruction. Unseen by Casey, a dark figure trails her from the NASA site to her home, and quietly slips a small pin into her helmet, dangling from her motorcycle handlebar. After hearing word that NASA has brought in working equipment from Orlando to continue disassembling the platform, Casey goes out to stop them but is caught by NASA security. After her father bails her, Casey collects her things but is surprised to find a small pin with the letter T on it. Picking it up, she is surprised when it seems to transport her to an endless field of wheat, with a futuristic city off in the distance. On the ride home, Casey attempts to show the pin to her father, but when Eddie touches it, nothing happens. Later on that evening, Casey sneaks out of the house, and bicycles to a large field. Touching the pin this time, she finds herself in the center of a dazzling futuristic city, with jetpacks and hovertrains. She also becomes enamored seeing a rocket launch station and follows a group of space travelers, before the pin suddenly runs out of power, and she finds herself having wandered waist deep into a lake. Waking up her little brother, she asks him for help trying to find another pin on the internet. Their search takes them to a website of Blast from the Past, a store in Houston, Texas. Athena sees Nate in front of their home who asks to see Casey. When Nate attempts to tell Athena that Casey is away, she claims he's lying, and asks where she really is. Casey meets the store owners, Ursula and Hugo, to ask them about the pin. Things take a turn for the strange when the two grab 2 actual working laser guns and attempt to kill her. Athena appears, and fights them, with Athena pulling off Ursula's head, and Hugo being skewered. Both girls rush out of the store as Hugo self-destructs. Athena then breaks into a car, allowing the 2 of them to get away. In the car, Athena tells Casey that it was she who gave her the pin. The fight has damaged Athena, and Casey panics when she realizes that the little girl is also a robot. While they argue, a truck smashes Athena and Casey uses the opportunity to take the truck. Athena recovers quickly and manages to catch up to her. Athena claims she is from the place where Casey saw the futuristic city, but it may not be there much longer. Back in Houston, police are combing through the wreckage of the store, and several people get out. One of the officers finds the charred remains of Ursula's head, and Dave pulls out a device that disintegrates the nearby officers. Once they are done away with, he informs the other members of his party to contact Governor Nix. Eventually, driving all night wears Casey out. Athena wishes them to drive to Pittsfield, New York, to meet a man named Frank Walker. Reaching there, Athena pulls her out of the car and drives away. Seeing a mailbox nearby with the name Walker on it, she ignores the no trespassing sign and comes onto the property. She soon encounters a barking dog, but upon seeing it leaving no paw prints in the dirt, finds that it is simply a realistic hologram. Going to the front door, a man on the other side tells Casey to leave. Setting a nearby tractor on fire, Casey gets Frank to leave the house and get inside. Exploring the house, she finds some futuristic-looking devices, and a room showing numerous world and political turmoil, along with a countdown clock and a probability detector. Frank manages to get back in the house. Casey claims she'd naturally want to know, but then if she did find out. Suddenly, sensors indicate intruders, and a black van with dark-suited figures arrive and attack them. Frank manages to grab some things and stuff them in a bag. Before he and Casey get into a bathtub, the tub lands in a nearby pond, and Casey and Frank emerge to find Athena in a truck nearby. Athena ends up taking them to a teleportation station, hoping Frank can take them to the spectacle. Frank at first refuses, but finally relents, willing to accompany them. In a matter of moments, the three are transported to the Eiffel Tower, in Paris. After subduing a guard, the group find their way into a small room, wherein are figures of Thomas Edison, Gustave Eiffel, Jules Verne, and Nikola Tesla. Frank reveals an Edison tube, that when put on a phonograph, opens a secret entrance. The tower splits in two, becoming a gantry, and a rocket ship emerges from a compartment beneath the ground. Getting into the rocket, the three find French robots also attempting to stop them. However, the rocket blasts off before they can get to the three. The rocket flips around, and hurtles back towards Earth, breaking through into another dimension. After landing at the futuristic city, they see a small group approaching and Frank hands Athena a small device. She hides in a compartment inside herself. Frank claims they may need it for leverage. Governor Nix emerges, looking just as he did when Frank first met him. Nix exchanges some short pleasantries with Frank and Athena, and is then introduced to Casey. It is here that Frank explains about the probability blip he saw, feeling she can change things. The group then heads to a platform. As the platform rises into the sphere, a globe rises up on a pedestal in the center of the room. Frank shows Casey that it can take people in and out of places, and go backwards and forwards in time, showing people the Earth. Casey pushes into the future, but is surprised to see the Earth will be destroyed in future. This prompts Casey to ask why Nix doesn't allow those on Earth to come to the city. He counters that there is too great of a risk for humans to destroy it, just like the Earth. They witnessed Casey shows a flicker of a normal environment, but Nix taps Frank with a device, knocking him out. Frank awakens in a confined room, with Athena and Casey nearby. Athena tells Frank he is once again to be banished, with Casey upset that Frank didn't tell her about the impending end of the world. Feeling lied to that the pin seemed broadcast into her mind a vision of a bright future, she suddenly comes to a startling conclusion. The three are brought before Nix, who has decided to banish them to a deserted island, via a portal. Casey is still upset that given everything they've seen, little glimmers of hope, this futurist can't seem to see reason. Nix's idea was reasonable, broadcast a future in which humanity would be galvanized to do something about what they believed would happen, but instead, all the visions did was make people accept what they saw, and give in. Frank activates the sphere's lift via the controls on Nix's watch. As the two struggle, Frank tells Athena to use the 1 kiloton device to blow up the sphere. Casey hurls the device through the portal, with Athena shutting it just before it explodes. However, the blast loosens a piece of architecture, and it crashes down on Nix's leg, pinning him to the ground. Suddenly, Athena sees Nix shoot Frank with a laser gun, and seeing the real, she saves Frank to scarifies herself. Frank attempts to get Athena to a repair station, but she tells him she can't be repaired. Athena reveals to Frank glimpses of her memory, showing her feelings for him. As she shuts down, Frank drops her into the sphere. Her self-destruct mechanism sends the sphere crashing to the ground, and crushing Governor Nix. Casey opens the portal near her home, and invites her father and brother into Tomorrowland. Frank decides to reopen the recruitment program, and they create new recruiters, like Athena. Each one is given their own pin case, with a mission to find dreamers, those that will help build a newer, and better tomorrow. The final images show a number of people finding the T-pins. As they each touch them, we then see dozens of people popping up in the vast wheat field. Thanks for watching, and make sure to press the subscribe button for more amazing videos.